Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's training. Let's just get started right away. I've been posting a lot this week about, who would you rather be around? Someone who is very optimistic and uplifting, or do you like being around the people that are more pessimistic, sad, angry? And then who do you want to be? Put that in a post or in a comment in here. How do you want to show up every day? And you know so have you noticed that when you go to a function of some kind, whether it's at work or it's at somebody's house, that the person that is really jovial and happy, that they have the ability to uplift everybody in the room, and just the same as somebody who is angry and sad, or some of those heavier, darker feelings have the ability to bring the whole room down. um, so that's what we're talking about today. Is it's actually called emotional contagion. That is something that psychiatrists have actually defined, and I'll read the definition to you. It is defined as the process in which a person or a group influences the emotions and affects the behavior of another person or group, both consciously and unconsciously. So, I don't know if you've seen this. You've seen possibly on the news, you've seen mobs, and it just takes a few antagonists to bring everybody's energy down to the level where they would do something that they normally wouldn't do. And that's kind of what this is talking about, is that it is our natural instinct to mimic others' behaviors. So, and if we're not really self-aware of our own behavior, and we're not self-aware of where we're at on our own platforms, then we could be manipulated easier to go to a different platform that we may not want to be on. So that's what we're talking about today. So this is really important. So take some notes, because I'm going to give you some tricks to kind of figure this out so that you don't get there. And it is so contagious, actually, that if you're living with somebody who is depressed and you're around them all the time, then they have done studies where the spouse is depressed, and then the partner who also becomes depressed because of it. This is actually related to secondhand smoke. And so, if you're in a room and somebody's smoking, they're affecting their lungs negatively. Well, you're getting the same effect by the secondhand smoke. The same is true with what they're calling now a secondhand stress. If someone is constantly stressed around you, you have more of a chance of becoming chronically stressed yourself because of this mimicking behavior. And as we know, chronic stress leads to stress-related diseases. So it doesn't mean you can't be around somebody that is not feeling so good, or in a bad place or whatever. What it does mean is that we need to be aware, and we need to be able to manage it. So that's where I'm going to need you guys to take some notes, okay? And I think the one thing that we're really good at is knowing when somebody else is maybe not in such a good place, because we can watch their behavior. We can see that they're speaking quickly. We can see that they might be speaking louder, their gestures, their tone of voice, all those cues kind of give us an idea of where they're at. What we're not so good at is really knowing where we're at inside. We could display something outside that is not really true of what's going inside. So that's where we really need this self-awareness. And like I said earlier, just because everybody has bad days, has bad weeks. We shouldn't just run for the hills because we've recognized the cues and we don't want the secondhand stress. No, we need to be empathetic. We need to be able to help our friends and family when they're in these positions. They really need our help. So but the key with empathy is that we can't be. Empathy is a feeling. If you're at the same feeling level that they're at, it's not empathy. All right. You need to not. Empathy means you're not feeling what they're feeling. You're not having the same thoughts that they're having, but you're there for them, and you can give them suggestions. You can help them maybe see a different way of things. So I'm going to talk about this in the way, like kind of like platforms. So if they're on, the platform here, your friend, you see that they're in a lower position, but you're actually up here. Now, if you allow yourself, if you mimic their behavior and you allow yourself to come to their level, well, as I've talked about before, whatever platform you're on, that's the only thing you can see. That's the only experiences that are coming to you. It's the only thing you could think of. That's the only thing you could feel. So all you're going to do is get drawn right into the drama. All you're going to do is, yeah, that's what's going on. I agree with you. And oh my gosh, I'd feel that way too. That is not empathy. That's being pulled into the drama. All right. So empathy is about you being able to stay at the higher level here so that you can actually help them to see a different way out of things. That's how you help people. And so that's where I want all of you to be able to get to as well. All right. So we talked about empathy, and we talked about that if you're feeling the same way, if those feelings are coming up, if the same thoughts are coming up, you're not being empathetic. Okay. So what are some of the things that you can do? Well, the first thing that you need to do is to become self-aware. And that's not easy. It takes time. It really does. And we've talked about self-awareness in a lot of my trainings, because this is really, really a big thing. And you need to be self-aware of the four bodies. I did 2 trainings on the 4 bodies. So you see how this all just lines up all nicely for us. So if you understand the 4 bodies, then you understand what I'm talking about here. And you need to be able to go inside, and you need to be able to figure out do a quick scan and figure out where you're at, no matter what situation you're going into. If you're going into a party, if you're going into your boss's office, if you're going into a meeting, do a quick scan before you go in. I do have a visualization that I do with my clients to help them understand how to get to the 4 bodies and how to be able to do these quick scans. So if you don't know how to do that, let me know and we could talk about that. And so once you've figured out where you're at, it would be a really good idea to write it down. If you're new at this self-awareness stuff, you really need to be journaling. If you can't journal because you're walking into a meeting, write something quick in your phone, in your notes, or, even if you're getting out of the car and you know that you're going into, whatever, and you're going into a party and you've done your scan, get on the phone and, quickly dictate to your phone how it is that you're feeling so that you've got that written down. At first, you're probably going to only be able to do it when you walk into a situation, and then when you're coming out of a situation, and you can start understanding then, that self-awareness of where you were at before, and then journal when you walk out, journal where you're at now. And you'll understand whether a situation or a person whether you've been able to keep yourself where you want to be, or whether you've accidentally mimicked somebody else's behavior. If you're at a party, you might only be able to take mental notes. You could quickly take your phone out, make a quick note. Hey, Jamie made me feel this way. Real quick notes as you're, communicating with people and you're around people. Try and be a little bit more aware of all of this, and take these notes. And then after a meeting, or where you can't obviously possibly take a note, afterwards, definitely journal about it again. So that you can start really getting that self-awareness going for you. So remember, everyone does have bad days. And so we can't judge that at all. It is what happens. And we just need to be there empathetically for them. So this exercise is so that you could become more self-aware. I'm going to keep saying it. But one of the things that is going to start happening as you're starting to become more self-aware, right now it might take you, you're here, and then you realize that when you walked out of a situation, you're here. And so, how do you bring yourself back up, to where you want to be? Well, that's going to take, heart math techniques to do that. But let's say that, the heart math techniques, and you can then get yourself up to this point fairly quickly. But with the self-awareness, what ends up happening is instead of it taking this much of a gap before you figured out that you got changed on your platforms, the gap keeps shortening every time because of the self-awareness. And so then what happens is as the gap gets shorter and you recognize that this is happening to you, you could immediately do a heart math technique and get yourself right back up. Right in the moment, you could do it and get yourself right back up to where you want to be. So, so what are the 3 steps that I want you guys to do to help uplift you? And the first thing that I want you to do in the morning, write this down. So in the morning when you wake up, don't just get right up out of bed. Okay. I don't just get right up out of bed. I do lay there and I do think about, where I'm at right now. I do a scan of my 4 bodies and I try and really, really, truly understand. And here's another thing. If you can't get to your feelings, a lot of people don't know their feelings, and that's okay. Maybe get to an attitude. Did I wake up cranky? Did I wake up with joy? Did I, well, joy is a feeling. Sorry. So, did I wake up energized? You try and get more to an attitude if you can't get all the way to the feeling. And if you can't even get to the attitude, again, that's okay. Then, get to the thought. Because usually people that can't get to their feelings, they could definitely recognize their thoughts that are going on. So, and recognizing where, is this a pleasant thought or is this not such a pleasant thought? And you don't have to actually define the feeling or the attitude that's going on. So, but definitely do a scan and figure out where you're at. Once you know where you're at, what you want to do is you want to think of something that brings you joy, whether it's that fresh smelled pot of coffee. I don't drink coffee, but for some people, that's it. That's that first smell of the coffee in the morning. Sometimes it's, when I walk out the door, that dog is going to be wagging its tail and so happy to see me. And that brings me so much joy. If you've got a cat, sometimes it's the cat that's wrapping, around your ankles. And that just brings you so much joy. It could be your partner, it could be your sister, whatever it is. Just, think of that situation that brings you that joy. And once you have that situation in your mind, I want you to really start thinking about whether you feel uplifted with it, which if you are bringing joy in, then you should be feeling uplifted. And I want you to take some deep breaths, and those deep breaths are going to actually start bringing that energy of joy into you, and it'll lift you up. And once you really start feeling it, that's when you slowly start rolling yourself out of bed and getting out of bed and getting your day started. So those are the 3 steps. And then what I want you to do, though, throughout the day, like I said, if you're not used to doing this, you could be here when you start your day and, 2 hours later, you could be here. You recognize it. Bring that feeling, bring that situation back into your mind and take a couple of deep breaths and let it uplift you, again, because we really want to be the person. I know all of you out there really want to be the person that's uplifting somebody. You don't want to be the person that's dragging everybody down. So, so practice these 3 techniques, practice the self-awareness with the journaling. When you're walking into a situation, you need to start becoming more aware of where you're at in every situation that you're in so that you can help yourself. If you do want to learn some of these techniques that I've talked about, like the visualization that I do, that's absolutely amazing. And also the heart math techniques, just go ahead and click on the link. I would love to talk to you. It is a free call. So don't wait any longer, and hopefully we will talk to you soon. All right. Well, everybody take care, and we'll see you again next week.